Learning a language really does take a lot of practice and it takes a lot of studying. However, there is a right way and a wrong way to study. And if you got into the habits of studying incorrectly, you could be wasting a lot of time and not reaching your goals as fast as you could. This is why I wanted to cover these 4 mistakes you could be making so you can stop them and try to substitute them with something else. Better practices and better strategies that could have you speaking fluently in months instead of years. So let's get into the 4 common mistakes many English learners do make. The first mistake is using textbooks to try to reach advanced levels of English. Textbooks have their place. They are great when you're first starting out because it makes it really easy for you to see the translation from your native language into English. And you learn a lot of vocabulary really fast by reading from the textbook. But textbooks are best for beginner to intermediate level. Once you become intermediate, the textbook will not help you advance anymore. In order to progress to advanced and fluency levels, you're going to need to practice more with your ear and practice more listening. You want to listen to content by native speakers for native speakers regularly in order to improve your listening comprehension. Now, I say that, but mistake number 2 is kind of related to that. Study mistake number 2 is to watch hours of English TV shows and hours of English movies. Now, even though I recommend you listen to English shows and English movies, the trick is you don't want to consume a lot of content. You want to pick one episode, one movie, and watch it repeatedly. Watching 100 different episodes won't necessarily lead to fluency, but watching 5 or 10 episodes repeatedly, being actively involved in listening to them, actually reading the transcripts and the subtitles, trying your best to really embody or take in all the meanings of the English content. That's when you're breaking through and finally beginning to master and become fluent with the language. So for mistake number 2, you want to avoid watching or listening to hundreds of hours of English content. And this kind of brings us to mistake number 3. Many English learners are not doing enough repetition. So, as I mentioned in mistake number 2, they're watching 100 different episodes instead of focusing on 5 or 10. So, in the month or in the 3 months it takes you to watch 100 episodes, if at the same time you spend focused on 5 episodes, you'll be much closer to reaching your goals of fluency. Repetition is the key for a lot of things in your English study practice. You want to repeat the lessons that you're doing. You want to use flashcards so you can review the vocabulary that you're doing. And you want to repeat the TV shows and the movies that you're watching. And you want to be actively involved in all of those. And then lastly, the 4th mistake many English learners make is that they have no plan. They have no study schedule, and they study at very irregular times. They kind of bounce around and maybe study 4 times a month, or they bounce around and get content from here. They'll do a lesson here. They'll watch this TV show. They'll read a newspaper article. And there really is no set structure, and there's no plan on how they're actually going to become fluent in English. Somehow they just think it'll magically happen one day. But I highly recommend that you follow some type of plan. Even if you have to write it down and say, this many days of the week, I'm going to do my flashcards. I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to practice speaking out loud. You need to have a set plan of things that kind of help you the most and improving your level. And you want to be focused on those. You don't want to learn English passively, meaning that it's really hard to learn a language when it's just something that you're hearing in the background. You need to be actively involved with it. You need to be reading aloud. So you want to try to avoid bouncing back and forth between different elements. You want to try to pick maybe 3 or 4 elements that you want to work on this month, and then set a schedule so that you're working on them consistently and regularly. It is so important that you're very laser focused on how you're going to study in order to become fluent. So I laid out the 4 mistakes English learners make. Now, if you'd like 4 strategies, 4 study habits that really work in helping you to actually become fluent in English, then I'd like you to check out my free course and free ebook in the description box below. So my free course includes both an ebook, audiobook, and video lessons. So no matter if you prefer to learn by reading, by listening on the go, or by watching videos, you can learn these study strategies very easily with the course. It is free, so you have nothing to lose. So check it out in the description box below. The links are there. It is so important that you have a good study plan, because a good study plan can really help you learn English in months instead of years. And I'm sure at this point you're wanting to become fluent in English as fast as possible. So I encourage you, don't waste your time on study habits that do not help you reach your goals. Try to focus on the study habits that are going to help you reach fluency faster. But that's everything for this lesson. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you can get a new English lesson every Wednesday. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye, guys!